Life with Louella, written and illustrated by Margaret Franklin. This week's episode, Miles and Millie's outrageous carousel journey. As you may recall, in our last episode, Margaret and Louella were at the Lindsay Fair with their friends, Miles Molecule and Millie the Millicent. When they were there, the four of them came across a very unusual carousel with large unicorns instead of horses. They hopped on board for a ride, and pretty soon they were in for an unusual experience they would never forget. In a flash of color and light, Millie and Miles found themselves riding through a vast expanse of desert. "Where are we?" asked Millie. "Must be Egypt," replied Miles. "Look at the pyramids." "Well, I've never seen a sphinx with the body of a poodle before." Millie pointed to a large statue of a strange creature holding a dog biscuit in its paws. Not far from it was a sign that said, "Welcome to Hookamadukama." "Look out! Look out!" screamed Millie. Out of the blue she was swept away by the dreaded Sheik Tudbolgakik, who swung his machete at Miles. Miles fell off the unicorn when he ducked to avoid the enormous blade. "It slices, dices, and makes thousands of julienne fries," shouted Sheik Tudbolgakik as he rode away on his camel, with Millie under his arms kicking and screaming. "Have a nice day, sucker," he shouted to Miles. When Miles regained his composure, he picked up Millie's Viking hat, which she had dropped, got back on their unicorn, and followed the Sheik's camel tracks through the sand. Soon he came to Sheik Tudbolgakik's castle. He climbed in through an open window wearing Millie's Viking hat. "Miles," she shouted, "I'm so glad to see you. Sheik Tudbolgakik has made me part of his harem, but I just knew you'd come and rescue me." "Not without a fair fight," said Sheik Tudbolgakik. Miles and the Sheik grabbed the two swords that were hanging on the wall and battled it out. Miles cornered Sheik Tudbolgakik outside against the porch railing. Sheik Tudbolgakik fell over the edge of the railing and ended up as brunch for the gators in his own moat. "You were wonderful," shouted the Sheik's harem girls. "Tradition has it that we're supposed to give you this." They presented Miles with the emerald cross that hung around the unicorn's neck. "Now that Sheik Tudbolgakik's not around anymore, will you be our new sultan?" "Thanks, but no thanks," replied Miles. "Millie the Millicent is the only woman in the world for me. You girls can all go back home to your own husbands and families." Miles presented Millie with the emerald cross, as the rest of Sheik Tudbolgakik's harem enthusiastically packed their bags and left the castle. All except for one, a pretty red-haired young woman named Una, who was down on her knees crying against the couch. "What's wrong?" asked Miles Molecule. "Sheik Tudbolgakik was all I had," she sobbed, "and now he's gone. I have no husband or family. I don't even have a boyfriend." "Una," said Miles, "you're too good for someone like Sheik Tudbolgakik. You need a man who will love you, and only you. A pretty girl like you should have no trouble finding him." "But where?" sobbed Una. "Right here," the unicorn spoke. The unicorn knelt down and placed his head upon Una's lap. "Please, break off my horn." "But I couldn't," said Una. "You must. Please do as I say. Trust me, we'll both be a lot happier." Crack! The horn broke off quite easily in Una's hand. Vroom! There was a puff of smoke, and right before her eyes a handsome prince appeared. It was love at first sight. "Una," he said to her, 6 years ago, an evil wizard cast a spell on me and turned me into a unicorn. I'm so glad I found you to break that spell." Una and the prince walked away arm in arm. "Well, that's all fine and dandy for them," said Miles Molecule. "But how in the world are we ever going to get home?" Just then, Sheik Tudbolgakik's camel came up and licked Miles Molecule's face. "Does that answer your question?" Millie the Millicent laughed. "Oh yeah," said Miles. Before we go home, I gotta get back to the castle and change into my normal clothes, said Millie. I feel ridiculous in this outfit.